As Kevin Durant trade talks stall with the Raptors, in come the Boston Celtics to shake things up by reportedly offering Jaylen Brown through a trade. So in today's video, we're going to discuss how this affects the Toronto Raptors and their pursuit of the wantaway Brooklyn Nets superstar. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I bring you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news, and I'm doing it all throughout the offseason and into the next regular season, so make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We are getting so close now to 11,000 subscribers, and you can help us along the way. And hey, if you find yourself enjoying this video along the way, then make sure you like the video. Really goes a long way to supporting the channel. But let's get into today's video. We're talking about the Boston Celtics offering up, reportedly, Jaylen Brown in Kevin Durant trade talks. We're going to discuss how this affects the Raptors for the better or for the worse. You might be surprised to find that this could actually be very beneficial to the Toronto Raptors, but not really in a Kevin Durant trade, because the Raptors, I have been maintaining throughout the month of July as this saga just continues and continues. I've been maintaining that the Raptors have the best offer available, even without offering Scottie Barnes, even without offering Pascal Siakam. A package around Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, and a motherload of picks is the best seemingly that Brooklyn Nets were going to get for this player, for Kevin Durant here, because the Phoenix Suns, sure, they had Ayton and Bridges, but now they can't trade DeAndre Ayton, and Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson is not going to get this done. The Miami Heat, who have also shown interest, would have offered up probably Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, which also doesn't equate to the value of OG Anunoby and also Gary Trent Jr. And it didn't seem like any other teams were involved, and I maintain again that if no other team gets involved, if this is the crop of teams that are actually interested legitimately, the Raptors have the best offer, the Brooklyn Nets are going to have to consider that. But everything just changed as Shams and Woj reported that the Boston Celtics offered up Jaylen Brown in a trade for Kevin Durant. In fact, the specifics of this trade would be Jaylen Brown and Derrick White, along with picks, those aren't verified, along with some picks, going to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Kevin Durant. Now, I've said in other videos about Boston potentially having interest. I've said that, they could have interest, but hey, they just made the finals. They won 2 games in the finals, and honestly, I felt like they were the better team than the Warriors on paper, even though they lost. It doesn't really make sense to break up that young core, the young duo, the superstar duo of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in order to get Kevin Durant, but the Boston Celtics may have decided to change their mind here. We see the reports here, and there's a little bit of a conflict between these reports, because there are suggestions here that the Boston Celtics didn't offer Jaylen Brown. In fact, the Brooklyn Nets requested the Boston Celtics trade Jaylen Brown away in order to get Kevin Durant. The wording here is a little bit difficult. It seems like maybe Shams has gone with a little bit more of a clickbait sort of title. Maybe Woj is reporting the actual story here. But Brian Windhorst had also said that the Boston Celtics offered up Jaylen Brown like a couple of weeks ago, and that this isn't a new thing here. So everything seems a little bit strange about this situation, and I'm not really sure which way I want to lean on this one. I'm kind of divided in the middle between if this is actually the Boston Celtics deciding to shake things up and offer Jaylen Brown to the Brooklyn Nets for Kevin Durant, or is this the Brooklyn Nets understanding that the trade pool has dried up a lot here because they're not getting the valuation that they want for Kevin Durant? Why not say that the Boston Celtics have offered Jaylen Brown, a almost superstar caliber player, an all-star caliber player, no doubt, in order to get other teams to up the ante with their offer? That is the tricky part of this situation. I would probably lean towards the fact that, yes, the Boston Celtics are interested in trading Jaylen Brown, and if you look at Jaylen Brown on social media, he would kind of suggest that it is looking like the same thing. If you go to his likes, he actually unliked a tweet that was a lot more revealing than this, but the current like, Jaylen Brown seemingly prepared to leave if Boston are going to force him out with a trade. Or Jaylen Brown tweeting something as simple as this: he is annoyed with this situation. And why wouldn't he be? Jaylen Brown was arguably the best Celtics in the NBA Finals, where Jason Tatum was incredibly underwhelming. And again, that team made the finals. That team who made the finals just got better over the course of the offseason. So yeah, if I'm Jaylen Brown, I would 100% feel hard done by this situation. But nonetheless, you have to think about this from a Celtics perspective. The Boston Celtics were so close to winning an NBA championship, and the East is going to be better this year. Maybe Chris Middleton won't be injured for that Eastern Conference semifinal matchup, and if he's not injured, then maybe it goes a little bit differently, but I mean, he was injured, and the Celtics won that series. But this season, I think the West is getting better. I think that the East is getting better, so maybe Boston feel like Kevin Durant is a guy that's going to get them just over that hump, just put them over the edge as that true, legitimate contender. And this is the situation where the Celtics have to address whether they want to have a wider window right now or a more long-term window by keeping on to Jaylen Brown. That's the situation that they need to discuss. And from a Raptors perspective, I've always said that, okay, if you can avoid trading Siakam and Scottie Barnes, then 100% you get this trade done. You get Kevin Durant. That's a wide open window that you have for, 2 years at the minimum, maybe 3 years, but that's a wide open window that you have. But you wouldn't trade the star in Pascal Siakam because, you want him to play with Kevin Durant. The Boston Celtics, they have Jason Tatum who can play with Kevin Durant, even if they do trade away Jaylen Brown. And, you could say Scottie Barnes could go and then Kevin Durant can come play with the Raptors and play with Pascal Siakam, but the situation is a little bit different. This is a rookie of the year. This is a 20-year-old. It's a little bit of a different situation. And also, the Boston Celtics team right now is a lot stronger than the Raptors team right now. I hate the Celtics, but I have to say that. I have to be honest about this situation. The Celtics right now are better than the Raptors are right now. I mean, the Celtics just made the finals. We were out in the first round. Obviously, we're getting better, but I don't need to explain myself much about that statement over there. But for the Celtics, they're better. Therefore, trading for Kevin Durant drastically increases their championship odds, but they're at a higher starting point in the Raptors. So for the Celtics, I believe that a trade involving Jaylen Brown, Derrick White, and picks would make sense for them. The Raptors, I still wouldn't trade Scottie Barnes. I still would not trade Pascal Siakam, even though I now know that the best offer available is no longer in the hands of the Raptors if the Celtics want to make this player available. It's a complicated situation, but I feel like the Celtics should go for this. Now, this is coming from a non-Celtics fan, but if I was a Celtics personnel in the front office, I would be pushing in order to make this trade. People are going to have conflicting opinions 100%, but I think that this would be a good trade for the Raptors. Not a good trade for the Eastern Conference. The conference, of course, that the Toronto Raptors play in. That's where my fandom lies. The East just got a lot more top heavy if Kevin Durant actually ends up on the Boston Celtics. That makes them the best team in the East. That makes them arguably the best team in the NBA. You might still side with the Clippers, but hey, if both teams match up in the final, what a series that could potentially be. A long time away, no injuries, especially for Kevin Durant, but hey, that makes the Celtics a force that the Raptors at this present point can't quite compete with. But we don't really need to compete right now. We don't need to be a contender right now. We want to be a contender in like 2-3 years. Scottie Barnes is going to develop. Scottie Barnes is going to get closer to his prime. And, the expectation at this point is that he is going to be that guy for the Toronto Raptors. We're going to build this already very young core around him and his development. That makes a lot of sense. Kevin Durant, 34 years old, lots of injury troubles. That window for the Celtics, as wide open as it is, won't be nearly as long. And as that window kind of starts to close up in 2 to 3 years, well, that's when the Raptors window is going to start to open big time. And the Celtics, a big force in the Eastern Conference currently, won't be as big of a force. So Kevin Durant going to the Celtics may actually play into the favor of the Toronto Raptors in terms of their timeline. Now, obviously, a lot can change within the landscape of the NBA by that point. Different sort of distribution of power at that point in 2 to 3 years. It's impossible to predict that far in the future. But as Kevin Durant starts to fade a little bit, most likely given his age and his injury history, the Raptors are going to be having that surgence to the top of the Eastern Conference. That's the expectation at this point. So this could actually play into Scottie Barnes starting to enter his prime. And this could play into the Raptors having a better opportunity in 2 to 3 years to be that true 100% legitimate contender. Now, for the right now, as somebody who very much dislikes the Celtics, it makes me nervous because the Celtics would be one of the favorites, if not already, to win the NBA championship. It would push them even further in terms of their odds to win the NBA championship. So that's not the best for me, but I have to look at it from my team's perspective. I love the Raptors more than I hate any other team. I'm not like that much of a generational hater like guys like Patrick Beverley. So for the Raptors, this would kind of help them out in a very strange way. I know we want to trade for Kevin Durant. Most of us still want to trade for Kevin Durant, but I'm not willing to trade Scottie Barnes, and I'm still not willing to trade Pascal Siakam because I'm not sure if trading Siakam and getting Kevin Durant really pushes us over the top as that sort of contender. It's a bit of a risk to take on with Kevin Durant, again, given his age, given his injury history. So that's an unfortunate side of things. But if the Boston Celtics want to offer up Jaylen Brown, I think that's a good trade for the Celtics, but ultimately, they can go ahead. The Raptors aren't going to enter any sort of bidding war in that regard, and, I'm still maintaining that the Brooklyn Nets are going to hold out on a Kevin Durant trade, but I think it'd be pretty delusional to turn down the possibility of bringing in Jaylen Brown, a much younger player, still very talented, all-star caliber player. I absolutely think the Brooklyn Nets should follow through and pursue this sort of trade. As far as the Raptors go, if he ends up in Boston, it kind of helps them for their long-term future. It is what it is. We're going to focus on ourselves. We're still going to be fine. We still have a great young core that's ascending. We still have Scottie Barnes in this team, and that is all very good news. As far as the Kevin Durant trade goes, our already dwindling odds probably fall even further down, and the possibility of Kevin Durant trade begins to fade more and more by the day. But again, this team is going to be fine. So what do you guys make of the Boston Celtics potentially offering up Jaylen Brown for a trade for Kevin Durant? Do you believe that this rumor is true, or do you believe this is a plot by the Brooklyn Nets front office to increase the valuation of Kevin Durant? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please, if you did enjoy, be sure to drop a like. That goes a long way to supporting the channel, because when YouTube sees that you like this video, it will then find other users with similar interests to you who may also enjoy this video and recommend it to them. It takes you just a second to like the video, but it does help me out a lot as YouTube recommends this video to more people. And make sure, if you have not done so already, that you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports, and in return, you're going to get the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news. You can also help me on my road to 11,000 subscribers. Full transparency, I don't hang out in the YouTube comments too much, so if you ever want to reach out and chat basketball, the Discord, the Amateur Hour Sports Discord, is a great place to do so. The link is in the description for that, and my Twitter and Instagram DMs are always open, and I love to chat basketball. See you again next time for another video.